Kenny here with Gardening Simplified. It's December 15th and we'll see what's going on here in the garden and around the Povey farm. We've definitely been busy pulling out old crops and building a bunch of compost at the same time. Normally I don't like to just pile it up, but it's going to have to be there for now until we get our bins open. Still got about a half a trailer load of compost. We need to finish up composting some rows, and we're going to move some of our things here. Looks like our ginger is pretty much calling it a season, and same thing with the turmeric. It's not quite all the way dead, but it's pretty close, and probably will start doing something with this. We're going to move these containers here. We'll go ahead and move them and then fill them up and get them mixed up. We're going to try to lighten the soil a little bit more with some perlite and vermiculite so it doesn't feel quite so compact. Maybe hold a little more moisture and still give it some air. But anyway, over here, of course, our compost piles are still full. We need to deal with this. You can see this tomato's still going strong. Even though it froze, it got some of the top. The rest of it's still going. Not that we're going to leave it there for any purpose, but it is fighting the elements. Okay, we've harvested some of our collards here. We added a few more, and then we did some cauliflower down there on the end. We've got a few bunching onions here, and then a few onions that started to grow right in this spot. And what we're going to do is we're going to plant this long row here. This is about 130 foot worth or something. We're going to plant this with yellow onions. We've got this row. These are white onions, and there's couple thousand on that row. It's quite a few onions planted there tight. On this row, it looks like we might need to water. This wind is kind of drying these out. These were put in yesterday. These are red onions up to a point about right in here, and then the rest are white onions. Over here we have some spinach, and for those that haven't seen spinach grow, it just basically kind of resembles grass. I wouldn't say so much, but you'll see it's just two little leaves sticking up there. We've got it planted on up until we get to our radishes. Now our radishes, we have 4 different kinds here, so just a little bit of each. That's plenty enough for us. When you have a 4 or 5 foot row, we'll just figure that transforms into 16 to 20 feet of actual single row space. We still have our jalapenos here. We haven't taken these out yet, and we have our hatch green chilies in here, and we haven't taken them out. We've kind of been saving our tomatoes up, so we're going to do some salsa. Now it is December 15th, but it's actually right now it's 78 degrees, which is, even for us, that's kind of a warm day down here this time of year. And we will cool down a little bit next week, but it is kind of warm. Now this bed here we cleaned out. We're going to rejuvenate it with about 1 inch of compost. Same thing with this bed here. We've just finished cleaning it out, and we'll do the same. Most likely we might leave this one. It's looking pretty good, but anyway, we'll do that other one. Our carrots here, these are black nebula, and I'm going to get out here today. I've been saying I need to take and spray these. I might use my baking soda concoction, or I might use neem oil, but they're starting to get a little bit of blight on these ones. Seem like they're more susceptible. These here are red cores, which they look good. They've still got a ways before they're going to be ready. I think they've got a month to go about. They are starting to form good carrots down here. They are small, but they're starting to form some pretty decent carrots down off in here. So anyway, it won't be long we'll start picking them, but I think it's still pretty close, roughly 30 more days till it actually should be harvest time. Up here we've got a couple of bare rows. Haven't quite decided what I'm going to put in up there. One of them might be onions. Then we have our garlic here, and the rest of this row is garlic, but it is the nodules off of the elephant garlic. Now this row is elephant garlic. And then we have rutabagas right here. These ones are starting to get some size. There's some newer ones that's down there. And then another row of garlic. With our nodules on the elephant garlic, whenever they come up now, they tend to come up different. As you can see here, this used to be at a different place, and we moved the dirt up here to make us some little raised beds for herbs. And we have our oregano here, but you can see we have a garlic coming out, and we have another one coming out over here. There was actually a few of the little nodules left from the elephant garlic in this bed. Well, we did harvest. They come up, and we did harvest them, but apparently when we harvested them, we had another nodule or two that come off of the new garlic. So right there, that's they're coming out, but they'll come out on their good old time. These other ones might have started coming up. Same thing as over here. These are nodules off the elephant garlic, but they might be closer into the springtime when they actually start popping up. We have a carrot that got out of the row, moved over, and our green onions, which were our small onions from last year that we just put aside and planted back, they're doing good. And of course we got some more garlic here, miscellaneous. Our peppers, we're still letting them hang in there as far as mainly the jalapeno peppers. There's some habaneros down there, but the habaneros are pretty much done. There are quite a few green ones that are left, and some are turning orange, as you can see, but they're not doing a lot of blooming anymore. So pretty soon we'll be cutting these out, and we'll probably be taking our jalapenos out after we get enough for our sauce that we're making, our salsa. Our lacinato kale's doing real good. It's we picked a few off of this side here. Had us a mess last night. Well, and a little more for lunch today. Now I do have some cabbage right here. Now if you notice, last year we covered our brassicas with row cover when it got cold. You know, when it got down to 30, and you can see the damage from it. Now it didn't kill the plant, but it did damage the leaves. Same thing on the broccoli here. It did damage the leaves, and if we're going to get any more cool weather, we're going to go ahead and cover these, because we're forming heads off in here for this broccoli, and it's coming on up, and if it freezes, it's not going to look that good, but they are doing real good. This is Green Magic broccoli that I have in here, and won't be long we'll be harvesting it. We'll be going ahead, and like this head here, you can see how it's opening up, because this unseasonably warm weather, we'll go ahead and we'll pop that head out, and we'll just eat it now, and hopefully these others will have cool enough temperatures to keep going. Now in the greenhouse are really long carrots. They're going to need thin. They're in there just a little too thick. Now our beets and our chart. It's starting to look pretty good. We've got a couple empty rows in here. We've got to redo the walkways here and right over there. We're going to narrow them down because we put them in 3 foot, but we'll do them like we did this one. We'll narrow them down to 2 foot. And we might go ahead and put a little bit more compost on these beds, being they were just made this year. But we've got all the tomatoes out. We've got a few strings here that we'll tie back to this side and just kind of leave them there, maybe reuse them next year. Our other carrots, we're getting a few more on the germination on these, I can't even remember the matakas or something right here. You can see there's still a space. Now we did have good germination off of our Danvers, and it'll be a little bit, they'll start putting out their secondary leaves and we'll thin them out. The Craig's Grande jalapenos that's in here are still doing good. They're actually wanting to keep flowering, and as long as they get wind and such, they'll flower good. But these make a big pepper, and they tend to put on quite a few. I'm going to see how big I can get this pepper plant, see if they'll have a pepper tree in here. Over on this side, we have our cilantro. It's starting to take hold and come on. It probably wouldn't hurt if it had some fertilizer. We have the Imperator carrots down this side. And we have a few plants getting ready to come in. We have some more mixed lettuce here. A bunch of onions need to go in. Some parsley that needs to get in the ground. We have some sprouting broccoli here. And all these right here, these are elderberries that I'm trying to propagate and root up. So we'll see how that goes. And some more onions, a few extra plants as far as collards and such, and then we have some bok choy that's hopefully won't be long. We'll get that into the ground, gets a little bigger. And we have our lettuce here. But as you can see, the greenhouse is coming along. Of course, we didn't say anything about our asparagus. It's not quite been long enough that it's dried out and ready to clean the bed, so it'll be a month or so on that still. Down this way, of course, we have some rows we need to start putting in. I think I'll put one more row of carrots over here, but it might give them about a week. That way they'll fall a little ways behind the others. These jalapenos, they weren't affected at all out here by 30 degrees. Now we have our cabbage over here, and we're going to have to start weeding some of these rows. Our different types of bell peppers, they're still doing really good. And we've got a broccoli over here, and this broccoli is starting to head just like the other. It's kind of not too much difference in age. They're pretty close, but anyway, won't be long. They'll have some good hits too and be ready for the market. Now we've taken out most of our peppers, and we're going to take out we have some Sugar Rush and some Hungarian hot wax. We're going to go ahead and take these out. They've slowed down on production. That way we can go ahead and clean this up, and then once we make our salsa, we'll probably go ahead and take out these Anaheims because we might use a few of them in the salsa. The strawberries are doing good. Our blueberries seem to be doing good. I'm hoping they don't bud and flower too early, but you can see they're starting to put on buds, and they're swelling up on all their buds. So they're good and healthy. We've got a few that are kind of off season. They are trying to put on their buds, but they haven't really lost all their leaves from last year, but they are budding out. So we'll just see how that goes. We had to come back in here and take these up, because when we put them in, we didn't realize they were as bad root bound as they were, and they weren't really growing. So what we did was just pull them up, took and raked those roots out so they wouldn't be bound up, and then put them back in the ground, planted them. So that'll be in good shape. The strawberries are doing good, and let's say my apple tree, this one and the other one over there are really doing good. These were planted, I think, in April of last year, so they're about a year and a half old, and they're really doing good. I pruned them back some. I might end up pruning back a little bit more once they decide to drop the rest of the leaves. But anyway, strawberries are they're doing good, even though it's winter time. These are everbearing, and you can see that we have a lot of strawberries on there. In fact, we've been picking them occasionally, and it seems like the wasps that were bothering them aren't bothering them as much. We're still finding a few. We got a honeybee coming in here and seeing what it can get out of that flower. So they're out and about, and that gives them something to get them some pollen and nectar from this time of year, because there's not a lot of stuff that's, well, I say there are some smaller flowers that flower, but not a lot of flowers this time of year. And over here we have some turnips. Now these are shogun. This turnip is supposed to have a lot better flavor. I've never grown it before, but it was recommended by a lot of people, so I'm going to see how it is. They say it's a little milder, the turnip itself is. We like the greens. It's supposed to not get so much of a bitter flavor and such as that, and we'll see how that turns out. But anyway, that's how we're sitting here in the garden, middle of December. I hope your garden's doing good. Kind of let me know in the comments what you're growing, and maybe new things that you're growing. And of course, if you want to see more of mine, just hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you'll be notified. And if you like it, give it a big thumbs up and share it. It really helps my channel. Happy gardening.